I've been lucky enough to spend some time with the world's best golf coaches, and they taught me a couple of quick tips to make your golf game way better. Hi everyone, my name's James and welcome back to Get Good at Golf. Today we're talking about the right arm and how potentially it could transform your game to hit more greens, hit longer iron shots, hit straighter iron shots, and give you some really simple golf tips to do all those things. So today I really want to focus on what I've been lucky enough to learn from some of the world's best coaches, and sometimes it's the little snippets that you don't quite think about that can transform your ball striking. So often when I'm thinking about what should happen with the right arm, I'm thinking about the amount of bend in there. So if I was to stand at the golf ball here, I've got a mid-iron Tacoma 301, and I'm thinking about ball position, I'm thinking about shaft angle, and all these things are going to be a direct result of what happens with my arms. So we all know you want the left arm fairly straight. Often when we do a video on the right arm, we'll start talking about the left arm. We have an agonist and antagonist and vice versa. So if the left arm's straight, can I have my right arm straight as well? Because this doesn't look right from this angle, and it sure as hell doesn't look right from this angle. So ideally, I want to have that right arm set back for a right-handed golfer. And from here, as I start to move that club away, you'll see that right arm just stays nice and folded and tucks up a little bit, so I can take that club face nice and square. So a lot of you might be thinking, well, if that club face is square, why isn't the toe straight up to the sky? Because if that was the case and I was to rotate that club around, that club face would now be open. I don't want the toe directly up to the sky. I want the toe in line with my spine angle here. So say if I was stood bolt upright and I was to take that club away, that would be square to my spine angle. If I was straight over here, that would be square. You can see how that club face wants to match where I am at all times. Now, if I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that successfully, I want to make sure, first of all, the right arm, I can bend it nicely, but I also want to make sure it's not too stiff, it's not too rigid. I'm not just picking it straight up here, because that's not going to work either. I want to make sure that as I have the forward shaft lean and I start to set those wrists, that right arm just flexes a little bit for me, and as I get to the top of that backswing, you can see how I'm just holding that club nice and high here. I'm not allowing it to flex too much and chicken winging at the top there, but I'm also not thinking about letting it fold too much and getting really flat there. So I'm maintaining my spine angle at all costs, because if we don't do that, you start to see really difficult shots. You start to see shots where you come up and drive down into the ball there. You'll see I've caught that really heavy. I've not had the desired strike that I want, so much so if we look down at the strike location, this is something which we see with a lot of golfers. We don't quite get the strike we want. Obviously, in an ideal world, I would have the strike centered out of the club, but you can see we've kind of glanced across that with a toe strike, and that's all because of what I've done with the right arm. If my right arm picks the club up far too steep here, generally it's going to want to work down the same way, or if my body works in a different manner, if I can't quite rotate my hips, I start to then drag it really under. You can imagine that goes the other way. So I might either hit that toe out to the right, or I might even catch, should we say it?
You did one.
I might even shank one. Sorry, Bobby, but we've gone there. So realistically, what I learnt massively is if you can get the club loading for the shot you want to, and this is something Pete Cowan touched on quite a lot in the lesson I had with him up in Scotland. Right, if I want to load for a nice neutral shot, I'll have the club nice and square at the top. If I want to load, for example, a draw, I might try and get it a little bit across the line at the top, so on the way down, I can make sure that path works nicely from in to out. Or if I want to load for a fade, I might get it the other way, a little bit laid off, so I can then bring it across that line at the top. All those things are happening because of not only how I load my body up, how I move my hips, but also how the right arm wants to work. If I was to come and practice and just clip shots with my right arm only, it's such an important factor when it comes to the golf swing, being able to load that right arm and then just work it through. You can see there that I've hit a really nice compressed little 8-iron shot there, and I've actually hit it out the middle of the club. So you can see the difference in the two divots there, because with the one arm only shot, I've managed to load it up properly, I've managed to release it properly, and from there, you might wonder why I'm teeing these up. And if you are wanting to work on something properly with just a right arm, or the ball striking necessarily isn't too much of a concern to you, obviously teeing that ball up is going to help you with consistency, but also help you make sure you do get the strike within the drill, should I say. So if you can keep doing that, keep making sure you load that right arm so it's not picking it up with a really straight one, but it is allowing the club to set with the butt of the club pointing down to the ball. From there you can load up to the top, and I could then just put my left arm on, and I know I'm in a pretty good position there. Now the Tacoma irons come with lambkin grips on them as standard, which is handy because the lambkin grip has a really big, thick, obvious line where the club face would be square. Some grips only have that little kind of indicator there, but the fact we have a really nice big bold one there does help. So I know that if I just set it there, I look at where the lambkin sign is, it's pointing directly to my right shoulder. I know for me that's going to massively help me think about where the club face is. From there I load up to the top, so I know that I'm starting to get a bit more tense, I'm starting to rotate through the body, and I start the downswing with the left side. So with that kind of left leg, left hip, the club works down nicely. What's happening to the right arm? It's still folded, it's still wanting to release down. As I get into the ball, you can see the left arm's nice and straight, the right arm's starting to straighten ever so slightly, and as I work through the shot, the right arm then straightens. So if I'm starting to release that club out there, you'll see that the right arm straightened. What's the left arm doing? We spoke earlier about agonist and antagonistic movements. The left arm starts to rotate and move around the body. So that's how you can get into a nice finishing position. And all the way around the body, the left arm and the right arm, they're not fighting each other. They're actually working in unison to help you get the best strike possible, to help you deal off the club if possible, and to help you generally hit better straight golf shots. I started this video talking about ball position, and that's exactly how we're going to finish. If your ball position is incorrect with the club you're trying to play, it's impossible to load the club up properly and deliver it with not only the right dynamic loft, but also with the right club path to hit a nice straight golf shot. So if the ball position is correct, the forward shaft angle is correct, and of course the arm positions are correct at address, it's much easier to do that all the way through the swing, hopefully similar to this, and you can see you can compress it, you can take a nice divot. If Bobby comes in and shows us exactly how we've struck that, I've started to work the right arm better, I'm getting a lovely leader system, and it's really helping me get the best strike possible with this Tacoma 8 iron. Guys, if you've enjoyed that, please make sure you do hit that subscribe button below. We're bringing you golf related lesson videos 3-4 times a week, as well as some short form content. So if you feel like it can help you, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. And apart from that, we'll see you all, not tomorrow, but the day after.